Listen, Monk Mo Gang, you know what's going on. Listen, bro, it just feels so good out here to not have sex. Listen, it feels so good to not be controlled. I repeat, it feels so good to not have sex. It feels so good to not be controlled. Listen, at the end of the day, she gonna show you the breast and she gonna be like, oh, Poppy Chulo, look at my breast. At the end of the day, a lot of dudes gonna fall for it and they're gonna be controlled. At the end of the day, listen, the reason we got biceps and triceps because it shows that we don't want to fit in. And since we don't want to fit in, we don't want to be controlled. At the end of the day, listen, you have to see past the makeup. You got to see past the booty. You got to see past the breast. You have to see past the large camel toe. I repeat, you got to see past the large camel toe because if you don't see past the large camel toe, listen, you're going to be controlled. She gonna tell you she want to start a family in Mississippi, and guess what? If you disagree and you want to go to Las Vegas and you want to go to Los Angeles without her permission, listen, you're gonna be controlled through child support. They're gonna take 70% just because you got together with her because she looked better than your ex. At the end of the day, you got with her because she had large breasts. At the end of the day, you got with her because you seen a camel toe and you was lusting. At the end of the day, I'm telling you, if you're lusting, you losing. If you lust after a woman, you losing. You out of there. I repeat, strike 3, you're out of there. You lusting after a woman, strike 3, you're out of there. Because at the end of the day, listen, besides sex in the nut bust, what can she really do for you? A lot of these women, they only speak one language and they have a bad attitude. Listen, if you don't lust after a woman, listen, a woman with a bad attitude is a bad business investment. I repeat, a woman with a bad attitude is a bad business investment. You guys are trying to get the millions, but you want the girl with the bad attitude. Listen, go get the girl with the bad attitude and let's see how long and how last. Let's see how long the millions last. I repeat, let's see how long the millions last. Because it's not going to last, you guys. It's not long term. Listen, I'm teaching men out here how to invest in a long term. Because if you invest in a short term, listen, you're going to be worried about everybody else. You're going to have friendships. You're going to be worried about their opinions. Oh, they told you that she was the baddest, so you needed to stay with her. Listen, at the end of the day, stop letting people control you. Once you keep letting people control you, listen, you're going to end up in these unfulfilling relationships, unsatisfied relationships, because you're a people pleaser. I repeat, because you're a people pleaser. You want her because of the breast bigger. You want her because the left cheek, it clap into the right cheek like tackle football. And both the cheeks fumble. I repeat, the left cheek clap into the right cheek like tackle football and they both fumble. At the end of the day, listen, you going outside. I repeat, you going outside. They want all men to walk around with lust problems. They don't want you to get the millions. They don't want you to pull up in the McLarens. They don't want you to pull up in the McLaren GTs. They don't want you to pull up in the McLaren P1s. They want you to pull up inside of her and have a baby, and 9 months later, you got to skate, and 9 months later, you're going to be on alimony. 9 months later, you're going to be on child support because you couldn't control your lust. So listen, that's the benefit of not controlling your lust. You're going to have to stay in a state with your baby mama because she doesn't want to leave that state because she got 7 sugar daddies in that state. But since you're controlled by the WAP, since you're controlled by the WAP, like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion told you dudes, at the end of the day, you're going to be sad and you're going to be out of there because you don't really want to win in life. Listen, I'm making content for all the guys who want to win in life. If you don't want to keep getting taken advantage of, if you want to stand 10 toes down and be a strong warrior, because listen, there's no such thing as bad days for warriors. We literally get air in our breath just to wake up and fight. I repeat, we literally get air in our breath just to wake up and fight. Listen, there's no such thing as a bad day to a warrior. But when you're not a warrior, you're not used to fighting. So guess what? You're not a warrior. You're used to giving up. You're used to being controlled. At the end of the day, listen, semen retention is for the men who don't want to be controlled anymore. You're tired of seeing the left cheek and the right cheek make you fall and fumble and drop the ball. Listen, some people used to play football. They seen a woman in the stadium twerking. They seen a woman in the stands twerking. They seen a woman in the bleachers twerking. They fumbled. At the end of the day, they got hit stick because they weren't focused on self. They were focused on lust. They weren't focused on millions. They weren't focused on being a warrior and fighting for those who can't fight, aka their future generation, their future children, their future wife. They're trying to win over a woman who's curvy. They actually are controlled by a woman's curves. So since a woman's backside curves a certain way, listen, they're gonna ruin their whole entire life. Listen, just throw them $5,000 of the $5,000 fee just because you got curves. At the end of the day, listen, it's no more of that. Listen, at the end of the day, those of you who watch my content, listen, I'm going to lead you to victory. I'm not going to lead you like AMS and tell you to, I'm not going to lead you to the cat. I repeat, I'm not going to lead you to $5,000 in child support. I'm not going to lead you to, if you don't even got a job, $70 in child support. I'm not going to lead you to alimony. I'm not going to lead you to a divorce court. I'm going to lead you to victory. At the end of the day, Monk Mode gang, you know what's going on. Listen, bro.